for what he's about and how he's done so much for our profession. And his teams never quit. And I think he, like, he lost some very good players from a year ago. Injury to one of the leading shot blocker in the country, and so I think he's like all of us. This time of year, you're still trying to put it together, and I know with his experience that he's going to keep getting better. So I'm not surprised that he did what he did, and they've been close, obviously, other times, and he's going to keep coaching. And just out of respect for him and the way he does things, his guys are going to keep playing hard. They're not going to quit, and they're going to make you play the entire game.
What about their style of play? Kind of concerns you going into this one?
Well, again, they've shown different things. Everybody got familiar with the press, and they still do that, and we expect that from them. They'll use a 1-3-1. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to challenge passes. They're going to challenge outlets. They're going to challenge the rebounder to make the outlet, and they're going to make you handle the basketball. And offensively, I think they're very similar to what we want to do. They definitely want to play inside out. A terrific offensive rebounding team, and that's hurt us. We're going to have to be able to rebound the basketball because they're going to go in there and they're going to get their hands on it and they're going to stay with it.
They struggled lately, but they do have a win over Kansas just a week ago. How much do you use that as kind of a reminder to your team, or do you need to?
Well, I think anytime you play, I don't know if your team keeps needing reminders this time of year because they've seen enough college basketball that on any given night, anybody can beat anybody. And but the fact is, they know it. I mean, it's there. And as we started preparing for them yesterday, we started doing what we do with every game, pointing out their strengths and what they can do. And the fact is, again, so much. And the very first thing we put up there was Bobby Huggins, and he's been around. And what he's done, and his teams have always been hard-nosed, tough basketball teams, and this team's not going to be any different. So we expect them to play at the highest level and as hard as they can possibly play, and that's what we expect.
How important is Jordan Bone and Lamonte in a game where the opposing defense presses as much as they do?
Well, it's everybody. It's not just two players. You have to have everybody be ready to handle the basketball because they'll do some things where they could pick to maybe take somebody out just to make somebody else handle the basketball. So it's not just those two guys. It's obviously you need your guards to do it, but you need big guys that can make the right play when they get the ball too.
Rick, you've had some games where your defense has been really good for portions of it, and then maybe have some lapses. How do you correct that?
Well, you go back to the Vandy game. We put them in some long clock plays where they were, I think in the last 4 minutes, they scored 3 or 4 baskets with the clock under 3, where it was either one guy slipped where he didn't get a rotation, split the ball screen, just like that. And that's how hard it is to really be a great defensive team to finish that possession. And if you're really good, you're going to put people into deep possessions unless they take tough shots. And we were good, but the other night, again, we didn't finish. I'm thinking right now 4 possessions where they scored under 3 seconds on the shot clock. And so focus is something that we've talked about, and it's something that we've got to continue to get better with.
It looks like Vandy, just to the naked eye, I didn't watch the film like you did, I'm sure, but it looked like Vandy was able to get you guys into bad switches on the ball screen. What was kind of...
No, we wanted to switch. That was our game plan going in. But that goes back to those breakdowns. And what happened, we got too spread out. And they, because we were working so hard, and we were playing hard. There's no doubt we played hard, but we still aren't getting to our spots defensively when the ball's away from us, and that opened up the court way too much. And that's, again, where we can continue to get better, where we're back to where we're getting into gaps better, as opposed to just getting so locked into our men that we're, again, giving teams too much room to play with.
Is there progress defensively? Obviously, you've been talking about it for...
I think I do. There's no doubt the effort was there. We did. Now we've got to get smarter with it. In terms of, like I said, guys, we've talked so much about how you've got to be able to guard your man, and and that's a lot, on the ball. And I do think we've gotten better doing that for the most part, but we're still not where we need to be off the ball, guarding your man and helping your teammate. And at times it's there, but consistently it's not. And that'll be a big emphasis of what we continue to work on.
Grant played 38 minutes the other night. Can you just kind of speak to what he's done conditioning-wise? I mean, he could have done that 2 years ago.
No, he couldn't have. And the fact that he was able to do that, and he's getting a lot of attention on the defensive end. People are going after him, putting him in situations to make him guard, which you would expect people to do. Same with Admiral. So, but the fact that he was able to stay out there and do that, and he has some lapses where he didn't fight for his space, especially the last play of the game, where I think the fatigue had a little bit to do with that, because he knows where he should have gotten, but he didn't get there. But you've got to give it to him again, because he's getting not only the physical part, but he's getting the eye from everybody. It's not just him one-on-one most of the time. It's normally 2 guys with 3 other guys trying to get as close as they can to take away space. But his conditioning from where he started is really phenomenal.
With 3.3 seconds left in regulation, what was the play design?
To get him the ball in the middle of the lane, and he didn't get there. He just, instead of screening underneath the basket, he just ran straight up and caught the ball too far out. And that's what and again, I think that had a little bit of fatigue factor, because if he had got it closer in the lane, because they had matched up with their guards, spread out, and the guy that could have helped would have been Admiral's guy, and if he came down, Admiral would have had room to step in, but because he didn't catch it where he was supposed to, he really couldn't make the play.
Do you like having this SEC Big 12 event as kind of that week before Super Bowl showcase, or would you rather have it November, December?
As coaches, you get into conference play, you get locked in there, but from the time this came around, ESPN wanted it right here. They felt like they could showcase it better. The problem with where we are right now, I think we've got 3 teams that are ranked that aren't even in it, if I'm right. Am I right?
That's correct.
Something like that. And that was picked at the beginning of the year, so the ideal thing would be, if we're going to have it this time of year, if you could wait till this time of year to pair them up, which is probably impossible to do, but the TV wanted to put it right here because they didn't want it going up against the ACC, Big Ten, and all those other things that happened early in the year. And if you look at it, it's probably worked out well in terms of the notoriety that our league is getting. But the fact is, again, we've got 3 ranked teams that aren't a part of it.
Who does decide which SEC teams plays at the league office, or?
Yeah, I'm sure it's
The league and the TV network.
the league, TV network, and they do it obviously based on where they think teams will be. And every year, something's going to happen where somebody's going to come out of nowhere, and other teams can have injuries and go backwards. But that's because we don't have an equal number of teams. It causes a problem.
Coach, you talked about it after the Vandy game. Do you think your guys mentally get exactly how big the target on their back is now?
I do, but you know what? I don't. They've never been through it. I mean, I always talk about the admiration I have for programs that are there every year, and you sign up for that kind of when you go to schools that have been great from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way through. But they understand it. But they also understand that the deal is about us, the standard that we set, and how good do we want to be, and that's the bottom. How good a basketball team does this group of guys want to be, and how hard are we going to work at doing that every single day? But they know it, and the fact is, you embrace it, knowing that you've got to be ready in practice every day. You got to be ready in games every day, because you are going to get really the best shots. I mean, I could turn it around the other way and say, how can a team get up for one game, but they can't get up for all of them? So to be able to get up for every game is not as easy as you might think. That's why you have great teams that do it consistently every year. But I think it's good for our guys. They've worked hard. They've done it. They put us here, and now we've got to embrace it and understand it.
I know that's a long way away, but just kind of knowing that every night you got to be like that maybe becomes a habit.
Well, you can say that, but then you go back to the tournament every year, the upsets in the tournament. The goal is to get to the tournament, and matchups, all that take into it. I think everything you do throughout the regular season, you hope is going to prepare you for the NCAA tournament, postseason tournament. But once you get there, it's a whole different mindset with everything that you have to do, because it's a single elimination tournament, and there can be no off nights there. And sometimes, like what happened, Vandy the other night, we played defense for a good portion of the clock, and then they hit a shot. Some of them were tough shots, but some of them were our breakdowns, and that's what it felt like, sort of, a game like that. And but the bottom line is, everything you do in the regular season, the experiences you're going through, you hope it pays off at the end for you.
Rick, you talk about the breakdowns you've had defensively. It seems like a lot of teams are finding open threes in the corner. Is that something that is breakdown, or is that some of the
rotational breakdowns? Yeah, and it all stem from dribble penetration, where you get forced into a rotation, and That play, I'm thinking of one. If you're thinking of one I'm thinking of, shouldn't have happened because it was Eve where he really didn't have. He didn't seal the baseline. He just lost his man. His guy drifted from the wing down to the corner, and he was still guarding like he was. And he reacted to the ball, which you'd expect any player to do. But when he turned around to see his man, he wasn't where he thought he was. That's why you got to see ball you man constantly and have your head on a swivel. But that's the things that we'll learn from.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.